What is up, y'all? It is me, Tasha C, and in this particular review recap, I will be reviewing Sisters, Season 1, Episode 2. Shout out to my YouTube fam. If you don't know my YouTube fam, don't forget to, over here, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to get all notifications. If you like this show or any of my other reviews, I am reviewing the short but great Greenleaf reviews. Y'all want to catch up with those? Dave makes me. You haven't watched the show, please take the time to catch up with that show. Great, excellent show. Also review that as well. Got to catch up with my Love at the Lock reviews. I want to watch that and get ready for more reviews. And also, like I said, I'm doing a year project where sometimes it's one video a day where I just read about different stuff and just come off the top of my head and just talk about different stuff. So also get ready for that and other stuff as well. But anyway, also don't forget also my review the Oval. If y'all watching this show, and y'all maybe enjoy bow tie or Paris shows, whatever. Also I'm reviewing the Oval as well. So anyway, y'all, I'm just gonna keep it real, y'all. It's like this show is promising, but I'm kind of like, okay, since I'm trying to avoid like giving up on a show and like taking the time out to watch the show and review it as far as where I'm recording right now. And the reason why I want to say this rant is because I'm just like, this show here is like, oh my gosh. Danny character. Abby's just like the one that's pretty a little bit interesting. Sabrina's situation, and then it's like, what the hell is going on? I'm just gonna talk, that. I'm letting y'all know in advance. Even though I had a nap, I don't know if my age is because the weather, keeps changing back and forth. I live in Michigan, and the age is sometimes hard to super. I still don't pronounce the last last of that darn illness I got, and I've been diagnosed with since 2011. And sometimes it makes me sleepy, even if I sometimes have to even though I take naps, So if I yawn, I'm just letting you know. It's 11. I mean, I wish. It's 1 something in the morning. So if I yawn, I'm just letting y'all know in advance. And like I said, this show, I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but I'm just keeping it real. It's kind of like, it's nothing wrong with Danny being like the comic relief, but it's kind of like she's doing too much where you kind of like, oh, you know what? You're doing too much. Please stop. And then even carrying the way what she's talking, it's just, let me get into review, y'all. I'm trying it. I think the only two people that I know that review besides AfterBuzz TV is Really Be TV. Like I said, I had a wonderful opportunity, that I was on her panel for David Makes Man last show, and she reviews the show. I think Jay Lee's Corner. She reviews the show, and that's who I think top of my head only 2 people that review the show, I think. Okay. Now with that 3-week rent. Now there's the next day. We're going back to Andy's office, and Gary's wife is in there, and Abby, like, once she hears the name, it's just like, but she like shocked, but she has to keep professional, okay? So she was like, do you want some water? Blah, blah, blah. She was like, no, I'm fine. I came from somewhere or whatever. I guess it's supposed to take place in ATL. Maybe the Sistas series, I think. But she said somewhere country or whatever that, she used to hotness. So Abby's like, hold on just a second. I had some coffee. I'll be right back, whatever. And she, I think, because I'm doing this top of my head, either she goes to the bathroom to call Karen. Now, Karen's in the bed with Zack, whatever, and she goes to the bathroom to take the call. And before Andy even said, she was like this, you can't be judgmental. Here you go, Karen, you can't be judgmental. I know I was saying to what you got to tell me, blah, 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 I'm judgmental. She already on top of the head. They get Andy's call to see what the heck she is doing in terms like if she with Zack or whatever, And Andy was finally able to get a word in about like a minute later, and finally explains that it turns out this referred possible client is Gary's wife. And Karen is like, what the hell? First she thought it was good because, it's referencing Green Moolah and, job. But then, like, the possibility of trying to represent her, Karen was like, this ain't going to end well. So, Also, when she decides to go ahead and talk to her boss and said, "Oh, it's going to be a conflict," and he was like, "You gotta look at the balance of the conflict." He's like, "She's there." She's like, "Conflict," and when this her boss, I think, is saying cash. Okay, she already has got money to the firm and everything else, and a little extra, some. I wouldn't even say coins. She has a nice bag, and can hopefully get more bags. Um, and he's like, just basically like, the conflict. You better look at the terms of this, like, you know what I mean. And so Andy, see that mid late night, early morning penis ain't really worth it because now her job and her, you know, her reputation and stuff is on the line, whatever, by dealing with this dude. Okay, so she goes there to talk with the lady afterwards. She talked to her boss. So she basically asked, so what information you got. And she's just like, what she knows he's going to avoid her, but she's beating him to the punch. But he surprisingly has done, surprisingly, Rose eyes, has done this before. And she said that he's abusive to her, stuff like that, and belittles her and all this other stuff. And she figures she knows that he's with someone else. And he's like, well, how would you know? She was like, um, basically his behavior, he's been washing his balls more than usual. Then she explains she's had a private eye, and she believes that the girl, the thought that that he's with, stay working out at the gym because she said the private eye says he parks his car across the street and I guess his condo complex, and then for a whole hour or something, and then goes to the gym whatever afterwards or something like that. And I'm like, that's a darn shame that Andy is waiting for this. That one, see, that's what you get from one straight jacket penis. Okay, whatever. I'm type to have you crazy and put you on. Okay, whatever. So after she talks to the lady, okay, we see now Karen. I don't know if Karen profession is she just I'm not to say like put out hairstylist, but I wonder is she the boss? Like, is she the manager or does she own the shop and is also working in as well? Okay, but she's working with her. But see, when she gets on the phone to talk to Zach, she realizes and is telling him in a way like, when I realized you were with me, that was falling point, whatever, you need to leave. But she's shocked that he listens to her and said, okay, I'll just go ahead and leave. But at the same time, she's pretty much not realized when you were doing what we did last night, whatever, you probably doing that with that bitch and blah blah blah, that type of thing. Okay, right? So Zach is going to leave, whatever. So Karen gets ready to go to her job or slash her place of business or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, she's actually talking to Sabrina. Sabrina is getting ready to open up because she's the manager over this bank. And one of her coworkers, slash I guess friends as well, or at least coworkers or associates, is Maurice, the one that was telling her like, okay, this is my man, whatever, type of thing. I thought Calvin was interested in him, right? So she's, Karen explained, like, I looked at he let me go through the phone, so like she's still determined to say, like, I think that he's with that big bitch, whatever, and she probably doing the test and said for him to come over here and live with her and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah, that type of thing. Sabrina was like, okay, listen to her, but basically in the end talking about, girl, we gotta I gotta open up this place for work. Okay, whatever. So we got that out the way. We kind of see Danny. At least what I see, Danny. I mean, remember the beginning scene. Maybe it's always going to be a scene that one of them is Bluetoothing and talking to one of the other ones in the car. Because first show they had Danny was up there talking about Jerome. We were ever going to see Jerome? Whatever. Is that going to come up? We don't know. But anyways, so Karen, like I said, Karen is at her job, and Andy comes there. Like I said, I'm not gonna go through everything. And Andy kind of like, talk like they're gonna talk at lunch. And and they were like, well, should we invite Sabrina? I think Sabrina, because I know Danny's gonna act the fool. Okay, so they didn't want, I guess, to tell her what everything was going on at first. Whatever, I think, but they end up inviting her later on. Like I said, y'all, I'm really paying attention to the show, but a couple times I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it's like, I'm just gonna keep it real, y'all. At times, the way the writing was and how the sequence of things went, it kind of like made me lose interest, even though I'm paying attention. The same way as I was watching the Oval. Okay, but they're deciding they're gonna go ahead and lunch and talk, about their girl business or their man problems or whatever. So Sabrina gets some flowers, and Mo first think I mean is for him. Maurice think it's for him, and turns out for him. So Mo's trying to answer questions like, "Do you you sleep with him?" Blah blah blah. To let me know what's going on. And she's also going with him for a second date. And this is we've seen the previous what tech was going on. Which even if it didn't matter who if the person was it wasn't over like I would be sideways too and it whatever about what this happened just because I'm like what the hell's going on so Calvin and Sabrina go out I guess on a lunch break on a date lunch and I look it turns out Calvin was saying this about himself because she was asking why he didn't have a girlfriend just like you asked me why I didn't have a man so I can answer that question right and he tells her that he does have a crazy baby mom, whatever. He has a child, and he was like, he actually got this baby by by basically like the first time he had sex, where he loved the body was somebody found on the gram showing butt cheeks and whatever, I guess on the gram, whatever. And he has a child. So then the guy comes in, you know, as Sabrina described, foolish. We see the hoops, we see the beard, love eyelashes, a red, ruby red lipstick, just up there. And he recognized Cap. And when he goes up, because they edited it actually in the previews, and when he goes to hug him, so they were hugging tight, whatever. But then he kisses each other right on the lips, and I'm sitting here like, I would have honestly still would have been okay. Besides, shocked. I would have still been the same way, even if it was abroad. Okay, because I was like, the hell, y'all, not even this hair, or just the hell. What the hell you kissing? I just was saying this was a Sabrina already like this already because already we're thinking Calvin up there to jump roping with the rainbow, okay? And that it makes more questionable, not the fact that he said hello to somebody, that was part of the rainbow community, but on top of that, y'all kissing each other on the lips. But like I said, I still would have personally felt some weird awkward way if he kissed some broad, on the lips too. Like, I haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, it's nice to see you. Still would have been the same reaction, because she just like, what? And then when he's trying to say, hi, this is Sabrina together, like, oh, okay, whatever. And he's still talking, oh, I miss you, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, sleep, oh, bye, Katrina. And she like, my name is Sabrina, and just walks out. And then she's like, you know what? I think she's like, it's time for me to go or something like that. It's like, okay, I'll get to check, whatever. So that was like, okay, whatever. So Sabrina goes back. No. Before she goes back to work, like I said, the girl, Karen, of course, Andy are still talking about the whole thing with the lawyer thing. The conflict of the Gary meeting Gary's wife. And Karen comes up like I said, she still thinks about like performing like is Zack and that it or set her up. Like so he can come back with it. But she was like she was mad that he left, like it was a test. Like, oh no, one like I said, y'all. Then Karen also said this when Andy told this information. What the wife said, Karen was like, "Who's to say she don't already know it could be possibly testing you? You never know. You know what I mean?" And that's what she was saying. So they're thinking about that. Then Danny, of course, has to come in, and she first thought, "Is something wrong? What happened to who? Whatever?" Because the fact that she was invited to lunch this time, and usually, I guess she ain't usually invited. And Karen was like, "I just came to treat your food because Karen was like, did something happen? Blah blah. Did I do something? Did somebody do something?" And then she admitted to Karen that she actually added some stuff from Amazon list and build it for her to pay for it, but she'll pay her back. And Sabrina comes in at the last minute after she leaves with the awkwardness of leaving Calvin. She explains what happened, even down to the guy. And like I said, he was beat to the gods and all this other stuff, and they kicked your hug and embraced each other was already questionable. She kissed him on the lips, and Danny couldn't stop laughing. Wherever after they kind of ended, Karen was a little bit like surprised or whatever, and like I said, they pretty much all have to leave, and Sabrina was the only one because, like I said, they had to go back to their jobs because they must have like one of our lunches, whatever. And so we got a scene where um one thing Danny again runs into Zack. And she talks to Zach to stop his vehicle and takes the key out. He's like, he got to get some women, to take the women to wherever airport they get got so he can get his tips. And she gonna put her key all in the bra and everything, over exaggerating it. And then she's basically saying like, you about to lose good thing. She said Karen said you actually leave, and that's the thing is like Sabrina had told Karen, oh, don't be dealing with those and providing mixed signals. And he was like, okay, this is why basically like some women are whatever, this mixed signal stuff. Now here's the thing about you left and you said you were gonna leave when she got back from work. Now you say you're gonna leave. Why did you want to leave? And she was like, you basically, gonna ruin a good thing for you. And Zach, yeah, I know. And he says, Karen reminds him that how he doesn't like financially contribute like he's supposed to, or whatever, or he's reminded a lot, whatever. And something, I think Danny something lines have reminded him, like, you know what? Well, maybe you need to get a better job. And he was like, Zach was like, with my the record that I have, I was even blessed to get what I got, whatever. So he got to leave, but Danny had to put the key all in her bra. And first, like, are you gonna go get it? It was just like an unnecessary like scene that's supposed to be comedy, but it was cringy as hell. Oh, you want to get the key? Or you're not gonna get the key? Don't get the key. That stuff. I'm just like, what the hell? She finally get the key. Was acting like she was so happy the key touched her titties or something like that. Oh no, the key. You can take the key back now. And I guess it was supposed to be funny when Zach had said, well, this key is so sporty. But she was like, well, I have a warm bosom, and just walks away. But just like, key is this sensual? Oh, okay. So, anyways, we see another scene when Andy is talking to her boss because I think Karen has said again, like, you just gonna have to tell him the truth about really what's going on, and saying you can't take her, can't take Gary's wife as a client. And before, when Andy was talking to her boss, he started saying to her, like, you know what, yeah, I understand. I will give you increase your salary at 11% because you brought this with Helen, you brought this money in, you made this money, stuff like that, and even though it's what's name with the Harvard, because every time she kept trying to say something first, he was minding about like, okay, we gonna give you a nice increase that salary or think or annual bonus or something like that, and eventually you'll get better offers than that, whatever, because like they said, Andy is really that good, and it seemed like she brought in, like I think she said, the highest amount of money ever gotten to voice someone. So she is trying to see, and I forgot to mention when she was talking to Gary's wife in the beginning, even though the boss said like you need to really think about what you think about the interest, she was like, she still was first trying to refer Gary's wife to someone else. And she was like, no, to Helen referred me and said you were a good candidate. Like you were like a therapist to her, and I really want you, you know. So after that, she ended up, like I said, after her lunch break or whatever. So when she wants to again to after he explained all this fantastic extra, money that she was going to get, whatever, and she was saying she can't take basically Gary's wife's conflict, and he was like, why? It's not Helen come. That's one of her good friends, and they come from the elite, come for some money, and that will bring more money and stuff like that to to their business or whatever. And she was saying along the lines like, okay, there's a conflict because I know the husband. He was like, well, how do you know the husband? She kind of just like had that look like, okay, you know what I mean. And he was like, still, like, really think about that comment. He was like, you know what? You just go ahead and go home for the day, whatever. Guess what? She was like, are you fine? He was like, no, but he really wanted to think about the conflict thing, or is it really worth it, considering that how much money it can bring to the place. So she's on her way to go home. And then it shows a scene where she was Bluetooth and listening to a message from Gary talking about, hey, I love you, I gotta go somewhere and blah blah blah, and I'll keep you posted or keep me posted, something like that. So I ain't gonna be able to see you tomorrow morning or this upcoming morning or something like that. I'll get to the last part in a minute. So in a couple minutes. So also Karen is like going into a store and grocery store, and she sees this married couple, couple whatever with a baby, and this guy named Aaron Carter, because he had tell us that a couple times. He says like, that ain't no cracked up to be or something like that. And she's just like, oh, okay, whatever. And it ended up like being something along the lines where he was like trying to ask her, something, or he tried to say like she seemed like she had an attitude problem, and that's why you're single or something like that. And because like after that. And she was like, who said I was single? And second of all, you saying something rude like that. And then he said, the danger word, he was like, I think this was one of the most personally most interesting part of the episode. He was like this, well, that's why I only date white women. All these black women, these tennis centers, like popped out from each house, was looking like, oh no, this mofo didn't. Okay? And she let me know, well, the reason why some of us may appear angry because we had to be the therapist, we had to do this, and we had to put up with all your is and whatever. And even if, say, you weren't with the white one, you did not have no chance, not with me in the first place, those type of speech, whatever. So after she left and basically cussed him out, like, yeah, I gotta deal with your BS, go on somewhere with that BS, whatever. Okay? And either other one were like, yeah, that's right, you whatever, basically telling him off too, whatever, and he just looking goofy. So, which was interesting. Now in the parking lot, but right up front, basically, and I guess she had spoons ready, probably the glove part and stuff. We see that Aaron Carter decides to go again, knocks on Karen's window, and Karen is up there eating the heck out of a pint out of some ice cream. Not to say people don't eat. Heck, even I have ate cars, but I'm just like, it was just so random that she needed that ice cream right there. Maybe it was a hot ass day. I don't know. But he said he really apologized. He's going through a lot, whatever. And I guess, with his marriage, but whatever. And she was just like, or maybe he's processed divorce, whatever, or argued married, or, like pretty much downfall of his relationship. And she was like, well, what was the color of the lady? He was like, what does it matter? She was like, oh, well, she was white. And he was like trying to introduce her so like maybe they could, chat while eating ice cream. But she was like, really? So you get cussed out again? But then she decided to go ahead and allow him. He introduced himself, and basically they sat in there and they had like an ice cream social in her car. Serena dude in her vehicle. Y'all chill. Okay, that's her business, but I'm just saying, it was just so random. Now, he had his own vanilla ice cream too, but maybe she has some extra spoons. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if her and Aaron and Carter are going to be talking. Now, the last scene was, I wanted to point out, and went to commercials, was Danny, like I said, was on her job, whatever still. Or maybe it was the next day. I don't know. But, guess the part of the cold work is that Danny sees, like I said, but I got to mention when they were out during the lunch part. Sabrina and Danny asked, like, did Andy break up with Gary? See, they don't know that Gary is married, whatever. That's her between Andy and Karen's best kept secret. But they, I forgot to mention that she thought that Gary was supposed to propose to her on her birthday, and that's what also Danny was not supposed to ask either, which she brought up as well. So they asking, but then they realize, oh, you got the D stuff. I guess that D must be good, whatever. But they don't know that he's married, and got a whole family, whole wife, got somebody else, whatever. Period. I think. But they just thought that she would date dump him because he didn't propose to her at a certain time, but he went back to him. But and so, but what Danny has seen was she seen Gary with his wife, and there. But like I said, Danny thinking it's probably, and I'm thinking, oh, how is this going to turn out? Because you know how Danny is just on Zach's head on alone. Okay, whatever. Just like if we ever seen Jerome's in the house or whatever, we don't know, we will not. So that's what exactly ends. Gary is with his wife. Okay, so anyways, uh, that is the end. Hugs and love. Sorry, y'all, if I couldn't give y'all all, but I did the best I could with what I got to work with. But anyway, y'all, hugs and loves. Take care. See y'all next month.